everyone. Just thought I'd do a quick video again, just to ask a question really. I've been seeing a lot of clients who are suffering from anxiety, who are quite young. I'm seeing a lot of teenagers at the moment who, all over the world actually, I've got clients from the UK and Australia and New Zealand, and they all seem to be suffering from the same concerns with their anxiety. It's trying to cope with the school system and the exams and the constant assessment. And I'm really thinking that our school system isn't working for this generation, and in fact I don't think it's worked for a while, because we're constantly assessing our students, we're constantly checking up on that they're reaching a certain level, they're following these stats. Tutors and teachers want to teach, but what they're having to do is just constantly assess students, where they are, what levels they are, whether they reach this level, whether they can do certain things. And that judgment also falls on the kids themselves. But not only that are they judged by their teachers and the system, but they're then judged by their peers. And instead of a normal way of thinking would be, hey, I can't be good at everything, I might be good at maths and English, but I'm not so great on the arts and science. They just beat themselves up because they're not good at everything, they're not getting the grades they should at everything. And if they come home and maybe parents are concerned, they're again asking them, how did you do? What results did you get? And so it becomes a case that they never feel that they can ever reach that being good enough. There's just constant worry that if I'm not good enough at school, I'm not good enough as a boyfriend or girlfriend, I'm not good enough as a soccer player, or not good enough as whatever it is. It's creating that anxiety in them that they feel powerless because they can't possibly reach all those assessments. They possibly, there's so much to try and cover, and they're really struggling with it. So how can we help our young kids and our students to understand that you don't have to be good at everything, you don't have to reach those parameters all the time? And how can we tell our schools and our teachers to stop constantly assessing them, let them learn, instead of checking them every week or however often it is what level they've reached. Just let them learn, and let them learn from their mistakes, discuss what they could achieve and how they can cope with certain problems and situations. Let them study for themselves at what they're passionate about. Obviously they have to learn the basic skills, but it's become ridiculous now that it's all about reporting, it's all about getting the right stats so that we can get the right funding. I mean, coming from an education background myself for 23 years, I had students that had 77 assessments to complete in 34 weeks. It's crazy. When have they got time to learn? And just to cover certain government requirements, they're expected to jump through hoops, they're expected to get a certain level, and if they don't reach that level, then the teachers have to report why. What could they have done differently? How could they have... And it's just, then the teachers are beginning to feel that they're constantly being assessed, they're constantly being judged and asked questions that they're not good enough. And it just creates this whole environment of you're not the person you should be. And so that's what I end up dealing with. I end up having these poor kids that are just wonderful, that are great, have a great future ahead of them because they're creative thinkers, or they really are good enough, but they have this inner feeling, this lack of self-confidence, that they're not worthy. And so they go into fight, flight or freeze, that real panic, anxiety that they just can't do anything, and it shuts them down. So I'm just asking any of you what advice you could give to our young people of today, and how they can cope with the pressures that they're under at school. I mean, I even have one student who was at school all day and then came home and had 3 hours of homework every night. I mean, how many jobs would you work for long if you had to work all day and then come home and work all night as well? I mean, it's just ridiculous. What are they expecting? So great, please make a comment on this video. It'd be really interesting to see what your thoughts are, especially if you're teachers yourselves or you've got teenagers yourselves. just let me know what you think, and I don't know how we can change the system, but something's got to change. Otherwise, the suicide rate in New Zealand for our young people is going to keep climbing, and that's something I'm working to stop. I'd love to hear your comments. See you again.